Apart from my biological family, the more important family of mine is the Air Force,
Yes.
Indian Air Force. Motivation is like hanging a carrot in front of anybody that here's the motivation, if you do this, you'll get this. If you want to have good youth, girls or boys, whatever, as an elder, as a senior, you got to inspire them. They look up to you as their role models.
Right. On today's date and time, you had to tell 18-year-old Amul any advice. What would that be?
The youngsters today, the 18-year-old, you must formulate your aims and ambitions by the time you come to class 10th. By 10th, you should be absolutely clear as to what would you like to do in life.
Whatever life is shown in the movies regarding Air Force, is there anything that is actually not shown which is the highlight of it?
I was lucky enough that the Air Force chose me to act in two movies. One was as a flight lieutenant instructor in Air Force Academy, and the next was in border. I flew, my squadron flew for border.
Everyone wants to fly high, but nobody is seeking answers to how to remain grounded. And you have managed both.
Like we used to be told, leave everything out when you are going inside the cockpit to fly.
Jai Hind. You know, at times we meet people whose achievements and successes inspire us. And then we meet people whose values in life motivate us. Today's guest has spent decades serving in the Indian Air Force as a fighter pilot. He's the third generation officer. He has been leading men, commanding Air Force bases, training future aviators, and making critical decisions under immense pressure. Yet, what makes his journey more remarkable is that he did not stop post retirement. Rather, he chose to continue contributing to society by working with the children who had hearing impairment and further on working for the Air Force Association at Dehradun. We are in a world where we feel titles and achievements are the measure of success. But here we find him who has humility and purpose for the society that motivates him and also gives us a path to follow. So, today we won't be talking about aircraft and military operations, rather, we would be touching upon the discipline, leadership, and purpose with which he has followed his life. So, please join me in welcoming Air Commodore Amul Kapoor, Vayusena Medal, Sevanivrit, and for me, it is very, very close to my heart because Sir happens to be instructor of my husband. So I welcome you, Sir, and indeed, it's an honor and a privilege to be interacting with you today and seeking your guidance for the youth of today.
Jai Hind, ma'am. If you allow me to address you as Shweta ji,
Yes, of course.
it was extremely kind of you both that you have come in this range here all the way about 12 kilometers to do this interview. You said a few things about motivation, about the achievements, etc., etc. And you, as you rightly said, that you will not be dwelling upon fighter aircraft, fighter operations, etc., etc. That can be done later in some other episode of you. First of all, I would like to congratulate you and your team that you are making very good YouTube videos for the youth. Well, I'm an ardent follower of your channel.
Thank you so much,
I
sir.
am.
Honored.
Okay, let's start from the thing which you asked first. For me, Motivation is like hanging a carrot in front of anybody, that here's the motivation, if you do this, you'll get this. I've always gone by the principles of inspirations. Inspiration I got was from my, I'll say, please allow me to say, elite army heavy family.
Right.
As you rightly said, third generation, yes, but elite army. In our family, we are only three members from the Air Force and two members from the Navy. Rest are OG people and from the Army, Indian Army. And I thank my late mother that she made sure that I went into the Air Force,
Okay.
because she didn't want to see any more OG people in our in our family. So she said, wear the khaki. Because at that time the uniform was khaki in the Air Force.
Okay.
I got commissioned in the Air Force on June 2nd, 1973, and I retired in 31st of October 2007. Now I come back to the old thing which I did, that I got inspired. I got inspired by my elders in the family. I got inspired by my instructors, my gurus in the Air Force, who really molded me and who made sure that I went into the flying stream, into the fighters, because they thought that I had that capability and the ability to become a good fighter pilot. Well, I had to keep their trust in me alive, and it is still alive.
Correct.
Which is basically, ma'am, Shwetaji, inspiration.
Right.
If a young man gets inspired, if a young man gets inspired, then he or she will do better. Another principle in life which I've always followed and applied, that everything in life, if you go into the history, that everything flows from top to bottom. If you go by
Correct.
the physics,
Right.
from top to bottom, from higher pressure to a lower pressure. That has been my principle always. So if you want to have good youth, if you want to have good youth, girls or boys, whatever, as an elder, as a senior, you got to inspire them. They look up to you as their role models.
Correct.
Motivation, like I said, is like a carrot in front of you.
Right.
Inspiration is something else, because you as an elder, you as an senior, you do your bit so that the youngsters are inspired by what you did, from a higher pressure to a lower pressure.
Correct.
This is the law of the world. This is the law of the physics. This is exactly what Sri Krishna told Arjun also in the battlefield.
Right. Very true.
Get inspired. So
Absolutely.
I got inspired, man, not motivated.
Right.
I was self-motivated, fine, but the inspiration was there from my elders first, and my gurus in the Air Force,
Correct.
my elders in the family who did very well in the armed forces.
Right.
Okay, that inspired me to do well.
I was thinking of asking you so many things, but I've got answers to most of them in this beginning of your telling us about your life, because it is like, you were inspired enough to be in the forces, and you never thought that besides the forge, there is anything else that you would want to do. But if on today's date and time you had to tell 18-year-old Amul any advice, what would that be?
Ah, that's a pretty good question, man. I am going to various schools and colleges out here to give lectures on the same thing. It is your dream as to exactly what you want to do. Maybe you may be having a dream that I want to earn money. So if you want to earn money, then you go into the corporate world, you open your own business or do anything. But if you want to do something for your nation, please don't think that I'm the old type. No. At times I feel that I'm far better than the 18-year-old today. In
Correct.
fact, I keep giving challenges to my children who are doing very well, and also to my grandchildren also, granddaughters, twins. I can run more than you.
Mhm.
I can do more work than you. That's fine, but it is one's own dreams. I feel that the youngsters today, because of the immense amount of inputs coming in, this, that they are not able to formulate their thinking at a younger age. Like for example, I in those days there was no inputs from the mobile, from the emails, etc. And I wanted to do something that I'm far better than in my mobiles and handling the internet and all than a lot of youngsters today.
Right.
I am, because I do that thing. I've done courses in it. You as a human being, ma'am, the youngsters today, the 18-year-old, you must formulate your aims and ambitions by the time you come to class 10th. By 10th, you should be absolutely clear as to what would you like to do in life. Class 10. You should also have the main course and the standby courses. That if not this, then I'll do this. One, two options should always be available with the youngsters. And if you allow me to say also, that the present generation, I'm not including Neeraj or you, no, present generation, younger generation, they are not getting adequate time to
To
their
their
children
children. Very true.
because of the maybe the working condition, maybe they've got their own aims, and that is exactly where we are going on. If you want to have children, then you must give time to the children.
Correct. So one more thing, I feel that whatever life is shown in the movies regarding Air Force, is there anything that is actually not shown, which is the highlight of it? Because people who join services at a very young age, I feel it is more of adventure, that pride of wearing the uniform, rather than the patriotism. I think that comes later in life.
Yeah.
So, what is it that is missing, which you think the generation needs to
All
know?
right, ma'am. Very good
Sure.
question, ma'am. Like I said, the inputs,
Correct.
the inputs through the social media, the inputs from YouTube, X, what have you, from the movies, also big screen movies and all. It has changed the outlook of the younger
Correct.
generation. They are seeing only the glamour.
Hmm.
They're not seeing the actual part of it. Here I'll interject that I was lucky enough that the Air Force chose me to act in two movies. One was as a flight lieutenant instructor in Air Force Academy, and the next was in Border. My squadron flew for Border.
Okay.
Okay, my squadron flew for Border, and there, like people like Jackie Shroff and all, they had, had come to our squadron there in Jodhpur. If I'm able to send you some shots of that, I will
Please do
send
that.
you that. Yes, ma'am, you said that. People now, they should not think, hey, he's a old timer. He goes, I keep myself tuned to the present. Do for your nation thing is a big question mark now. Honestly, very. In case in our times, out of 100, it was 60. Now it has come down to 25 out of 100.
Hmm.
Primarily because of the change of attitudes, inputs, and money. Money is important and is a very important factor. One must have money, but it's not everything in life.
Correct.
It's not everything in life. And there is a requirement for the nation to look into what should be the pay and allowances for the armed forces of India vis-a-vis the corporate and the civil sector. I'll give you a small example. Take a small nation like Singapore, Malaysia, whatever. The highest paid people, okay, are the teachers or the gurus. Next comes the armed forces. The third comes in the list for, I'm talking about Singapore, are the medical people. The MPs and MLAs, they come a lower down, shade down than the armed forces also. Can this be brought into us?
Should be brought in.
It should be brought. If you want to have a strong nation,
Right.
that is up to the government in power, that is up to our MPs and MLAs to decide. As far as I'm concerned, anytime still now, if I'm asked to come and do something for the nation, I'll go. I'll go. Like you rightly said, also, money is the thing. How much to earn, how to earn is the aim of the people.
There's one thing I've seen, that everyone wants to fly high, but nobody is seeking answers to how to remain grounded. And you have managed both. If you can guide, how did you do that?
One has to be disciplined in life totally. As an armed forces, well, I call myself in the Air Force is known as Air Warrior, Army is known as Yodha. You have to be disciplined, you have to be self disciplined in life to start with yourself. Once you become an adult, once you start the right to vote at the age of 18, your grounding should have been done by your parents prior to that. Up to the age of 15, the grounding should have been completed. The things to be taught to the youngsters for self discipline should have been completed in the family. In the Indian family, it is still there. Not anymore. Thereafter, from the age of 18, it is self discipline. What, when, how I want to do.
Very true. And because you have spent years protecting the nation's borders, and when we talk about today's youth, uh, what do you think are the biggest threats in the mind of the youth of today? And also, I feel that as a fighter pilot, you would have taken, seconds made decisions, and which would have been absolutely correct when you look back today also. And fearful mind, I don't think can do that. So how does one function despite fear?
Uh, yeah, one can function. It is to train the mind. Like we used to be told, leave everything out when you are going inside the cockpit to fly.
Hmm.
You may be a helicopter pilot, you may be a transport pilot, you may be a UAV controller, okay, you may be a fighter pilot. Once you are on the job, think only about the job. Don't bring the inputs. अरे आज मेरा मैंने सोशल उसमें मैंने मीडिया में मैंने कुछ भेजा तो आया अभी कि नहीं आया ना. You have to be totally 100% to the job. We never got feared while flying. There was no scare, not at all. This again because we used to look up at the gurus and the elders. They used to fly the same aircraft and they used to come out cheerful from the cockpit. And that is what we imparted to our youngsters also. Today, and please, all the younger audience, please kindly forgive me if you think I'm wrong. Money, again, I'm repeating myself, money is not everything in life. It is important, it's an important factor. And that is where our people at the helm of affairs in the government, they should think what is the right thing to do for the armed forces of today.
Right.
Okay. Like I want to add a few things. After my retirement, I went into the welfare of the armed forces for the Army, Air Force, and Navy, their families, the retired people, and their widows also. Then I was the senior vice president of the Uttarakhand Ex Services League, based in Dehradun. Thereafter, once the Air Force headquarters told me to take up this job in 2019 November, I took over as the Air Force Association president of Uttarakhand. Meanwhile, I also did a stint of 4.5 years plus as a director of an NGO school for deaf, where I didn't take anything. I gave myself there for the deaf. I learned the Indian Sign Language. I've got lot many deaf children who are still with me of my time. And here I would like to add also something that we are also a member and a part of the NGO school of Derin Purukul,
Okay.
of the PYDS.
Hanji.
This time we are now, I mean, as a family, we are educating the third girl student there. We have been a part of that school from 2008 onwards. We give the things required for the education in the school, and I'm so proud that we have been able to educate two who have gone out of them, the school, and the third one is getting educated.
Wow.
Yeah.
So actually, you talked about your post-retirement life, and that was my query also. That people say once you retire, you need to slow down. But here, I find you serving even further on and doing so well. And from where does this inspiration come? This giving back to society is a very small term, I would say, the way you are working for it. So where does all this happen in your life? कैसे आपका दिन शुरू होता है कि आप बोलते हो अभी तो ये भी बाकी है?
It comes how you have been brought up in the family.
Yeah.
Ultimately, everything comes from the grounding one has
Right.
from the family side. But there are instances also where somebody has done it on his own or her own, like you are doing for yourself. You are really making good videos.
Thank you so
You
much.
and it's for the youth to take cognizance of your videos now. So that's how, because it came from within, we said, and we as a family agreed to do all these things. We did it.
With such an accomplished career in your life, you say that this humbleness, this grounding comes because of the family values and the gurus in the life, your instructors in the Air Force, and hence you today are always ready, wanting to help people in their lives. So, this Air Force Association Uttarakhand, if you could just tell us what exactly is it doing and how is it helping the veterans, that would be a
Air Force
guiding factor.
Association, ma'am. Air Force Association was formed on 15th of September 1980. I hope I'm right. It was basically to look after the retired veterans and their families. It has improved its agendas, and it is doing humane work for the families of the Air Force, the widows of the Air Force, along with the Air Force Wives Association also,
Okay.
for the widows of the Air Force also, and also for the ladies who are the members of the Air Force Wife
Right.
Association, the Welfare Association. So, as far as the Air Force Association is concerned, it's doing a humane job, a good job to look after education of the widows also and their children.
Okay.
It is being sponsored by the Air Force Association.
Okay.
Yes, it's been sponsored. Where, but they go by the marks cut out,
All right.
because lot many applications come. They go by the who is doing what and how much is one scoring, and they go like that.
Basically, it is like you are never out of your family, even after retirement, even when you are a veteran. You have your family, your elders to go to, as Air Force Association is there to take care of the
Yes, ma'am.
individual.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I feel that apart from my biological family, the more important family of mine is the Air Force,
Yes.
Indian Air Force, which gave me so much and made me this.
Right.
Biological family is there, fine. But this has got more closeness. And I would love to give it back to the organization. That is.
Correct. uh, I don't feel like ending this, बातचीत अगर मैं इसको कहूँ जो हमारी हो रही है आपके साथ in this podcast. But one last question that is there on my
Yes, ma'am.
mind, and that is that if you had to directly talk to a person who is listening to our interview and is feeling extremely tired, extremely confused, and has nearly given up on his life or her life, what would be your say to that person?
Don't lose hope. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in the Almighty.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you. And I think, viewers, if you were to listen to this entire podcast, कहते हैं ना कि जो मोती होते हैं वो चलते चलते आपको बातों से निकल के मिलते रहते हैं. And that is exactly what has happened in this entire podcast. The pearls of wisdom have been flowing through and through. So, as you can see, this was all about discipline, self discipline, and instead of staying motivated, it was more about staying inspired. And because we had such a distinguished guest, I feel extremely honored to have done this today, and I'm sure you all will appreciate and imbibe what was told today. So, because you were talking about your Air Force Association, and I see that there are people who are there with you, and किस तरह से इनका चल रहा है आपके साथ, और how does it happen? If you can introduce them also to us.
Okay. Ma'am, thank you very much. I'm a lucky Air Force Association president. Both these two gentlemen who are with me are my elders to start with in age.
Okay.
He is now close to 88 plus, and he is now close to 78 plus. Am I right? They will introduce themselves because they are more confident than me.
Yes.
I will. But I've been, as I said, I've been very lucky that I got them who readily said that we would work with you, sir.
Okay.
I had to ask them only once, and they said, sir, we will work with you. He is my treasurer.
Okay.
I can't take a draw of money, okay, without his permission. And he's my secretary.
Okay.
आप अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस करिए.
बहुत खुशी हो रही है मुझे कि सर ने आप लोगों को इंट्रोड्यूस किया है हमारे साथ, और हम ये जानना चाहते हैं कि इतने सालों की सर्विस के बाद अभी भी यहाँ आने का मन करना, मोटिवेटेड रहना एज अ सेक्रेटरी एंड एज अ ट्रेजरर, क्या वजह है, क्या है जो आपको इतना मोटिवेट करने देता है?
मैं ऑनरी फ्लाइंग ऑफिसर सुरेंद्र सिंह सजवान हूँ
जी.
मेरा ट्रेड इक्विपमेंट असिस्टेंट था. मैं रिटायर हुआ यहीं सिलेक्शन बोर्ड से, एयरपोर्ट सिलेक्शन बोर्ड क्लेमेंट टाउन से. यहाँ मैं 6 साल रहा. उसके बाद रिटायरमेंट के बाद मैं डिफेंस कॉलोनी में सेटल हो गया और इनके साथ हूँ तब से.
बहुत बढ़िया.
मैं ऑनरी फ्लाइंग ऑफिसर पाल सिंह पटवाल, मैं रिटायर हुआ हूँ 95 में और इस समय मेरी एज चल रही है 88 प्लस. तो सर हमारे घर के बिल्कुल नज़दीक इनका गेट, हमारा गेट फेस टू फेस है.
ओके.
तो उस रिश्ते से भी हमारा पड़ोसी का रिश्ता है. तो हमने इनके साथ ज्वाइन किया और हम ये इनकी ही बदौलत हम यहाँ पे आ पा रहे हैं कि हमको वहाँ से पिकअप करते हैं, लाते हैं, ले जाते हैं। अगर हमें खुद आना होता तो शायद हम नहीं आ पाते।
वैसे तो मैं आप दोनों को ही बधाई देना चाहूँगी, क्योंकि आप लोग उस उम्र के पड़ाव पे आके, जहाँ पे कि लोग बोलते हैं कि अब कुछ नहीं होता ज़िंदगी में, अब बस बैठ जाना चाहिए, आप लोग इतने अच्छे से आ रहे हैं, काम कर रहे हैं, और ईश्वर करे आपको ऐसे ही सेहत मिली रहे और आप कार्य करते रहें इस क्षेत्र में। थैंक यू सो मच। जय हिंद।